Hello indie game fans, I haven't done one of these in a while, so if you're unfamiliar, surprise releases covers new releases that I missed, 1.0 releases and updates, so let's begin with Nyaaaanvy, a multiplayer party game that stars elongated cats, which are sumo wrestling for dominance. It has physics, so you need to figure out how that works in this game, with the sheer chaos of games like this being part of the highlight. Just a quick one here, in the not-so-indie Steamworld build, a city builder title set in the Steamworld universe, which released the Dorado Crest update, which adds a new reward building, a new mine collection, as well as new environmental decor, adding some Mayan-looking temples, for example, and continues to get better. This video is brought to you by Quadroids, a single-player puzzle platformer that has you playing across, count them, 4 screens all at the same time. I see Lemming's DNA in this game, but with an added layer of complexity, since it is not just limited to a single screen like in the classic, but where the real-time action simultaneously across 4 screens is quite the challenge. However, if you think that that's too much, it does have 4-player couch co-op and even remote play support, so you can call a friend or 3 to spread the fun. Quadroids can be sacrificed so that the others can get to the end of the level, having a 3 stars system that grades you based on the time taken, number of orders given, and of course, if you even manage to complete the level, with these unlocking even more devious puzzles. If you're a streamer, this has Twitch integration and allows your audience to take over 1 or more screens, so if you're in for a mind-bending good time, the game releases today on Steam, PS4, Xbox One and Switch, so pick it up on your platform of choice. Here's a classic-looking Zelda-style action-adventure game named Saga of the Moon Priestess, in which roles are reversed and our heroine has to save the kidnapped prince. This looks very Zelda-like in nature, with 5 dungeons, life containers, key items to collect, enemies to battle and more, nailing the throwback pixel art look as well. Here's a fascinating title that you might have missed, since Knight Raider is essentially an extraction game like Escape from Tarkov, or more accurately, a Zero Civet-like, if you will, in which you're entering a city full of zombies with limited weapons and equipment, having to scavenge for resources, and then to evacuate alive and to make it back to camp. Most impressively, this is the work of a solo developer, with it having an extensive modular weapon modding and customization system which does feed into the action. Combat is thrilling in that extraction game kind of way, with just a little bit of Vampire Survivors inspiration, but it straight up is not a bullet heaven title, where the best part is that this is not in early access, but the developer has been constantly patching the game and adding new stuff. After what seemed like forever, the Universim released out of early access, being a self-styled new breed of god game, and they've nailed what they are going for. You are guiding a civilization through the ages, from the Stone Age to the medieval era, modern times, and even as they become a space-faring civilization. You can research and advance the level of technology, but have to balance that with maintaining the natural ecosystem, as well as managing conflict between the different groups of your followers. So it's a very ambitious title that should be of interest to fans of the genre. Another 1.0 release of interest is Factory Town Idle, coming to us from the developer of the factory builder game Factory Town, with this iteration, of course, being an incremental or idle game version of the earlier game. As such, I believe there are some reused assets, like the icons and so on, but that's not the important part in the grand scheme of things, especially when it comes to games like this. You are still managing production chains and crafting and selling items, being a self-described living spreadsheet, which I have to say is a good descriptor for this game. This next title is completely free, so there's no harm in checking out. Please touch the artwork too. A point-and-click adventure game with hidden object elements in which you play as this skeleton exploring a surreal world. You're trying to find your way home by wandering through the different paintings, and it's a short, free experience that might just be the perfect palate cleanser. Here's an interesting looking tower defense title named Project Astra Dominium, in that it adds in base building and automation elements as you gather resources and become a supply hub for Earth, but that attracts aliens which you need to fend off. As such, it's a little bit like Mindustry, but where the factory building and tower defense portions are more separated out, so if you love automation titles, do give this a go. There have been quite a number of restaurant management sims, so much so that it's difficult to tell at first glance which would be good, so I'm happy to report that the first person title, Kebab Chef's Restaurant Simulator, is a pretty good one of these. You are decorating the restaurant and preparing food for your customers, but here's the secret ingredient of the game. This supports co-op. Yes, you can indeed work together with your friends and even head to the pub for a drink after work, looking excellent with friends. Now this title is an awesome game since Sheepy, A Short Adventure is a pixel art platformer in which an abandoned sheep plushie is brought to life and has to make its way through the world. It is short, sweet, emotional, and completely free with an astounding 3,000 Steam reviews as of recording, so definitely give this game a try after you finish watching this video. I was not expecting this game to be as popular as it is, since Lone Star is a roguelite deck builder with ships, so it's a different take on the FTL-like, where, surprise surprise, math plays a central role here. It takes the guesswork out of games like this with having the damage numbers blatantly displayed on screen, in which the larger number wins, and the damage dealt is the difference between the two numbers. There's just so much enemy ship variety, different pilots that you can choose who each have special abilities, and different modular unit parts for your ship as well, so if you love games like Cobalt Core, this is one to get. Surprise! the first major update for Dread Delusion has dropped, which is named the Clockwork Kingdom, adding a new major region of the same name, in which the Clockwork King rules over this land which you can explore. The throwback visuals of this game certainly gets attention, and it's an open world RPG with an almost immersive sim feel to the gameplay. The new land includes new objectives, enemies, a new dungeon, as well as plenty of updates, making this even better. I am honestly pretty impressed with Yixian the Cultivation card game, since this is a PvP and PvE deck building card battler title and has plenty of possible builds. Watch Retromation's channel for more runs of this. And while it is free to play with microtransactions, they seem to be doing it right without pay to win, since it seems to be primarily focused on cosmetics, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now.
Nothing stands in the way of my whirling blades.
This next title has been chugging along in early access, being of interest since Raven's Watch is made by the people behind Curse of the Dead Gods, taking the action roguelite concept and applying it to classic fairy tale characters instead.
I owe you one!
The Dark Tales is the name of the latest update, which adds 30 plus new talents to unlock, as well as lore through hero memoirs, so that you can learn more about their history and their personal motivations. The action in this continues to look awesome, so if you've been sleeping on this game, do give it a go.
Blade sharp.
Here's another 1.0 release of interest in River Town Factory, a game that looks like another farming sim title, but instead is a factory builder, but with the twist that it is set in ancient China. You have travelled 1,000 years back in time after a meteorite crashed into the planet and are now a factory owner in which you can do things like drill for oil and even create a computer, vastly altering the course of history in the process. There's also a fantasy or cultivation elements with monsters to battle, and you even need to defend your factory and seems to be going under the radar, so give this one a go.
This ends tonight.
The Order took everything from me. Soon they will learn the true meaning of ruin.
This is our last stand, Edwin. The Order cannot die this night.
I've been keeping an eye on Age of Darkness Final Stand since it's a survival RTS that is similar to They Are Billions, only in a dark fantasy world instead of steampunk with zombies, with the Exile's Return update being of note. This adds Act 3 of the story campaign with the final 3 missions which completes the campaign, and also adds a new hero to the survival mode. In They Are Billions, the sandbox mode came first and then the campaign was added later, with this game seeming to be the inverse of that, being story campaign first, so you can definitely feel the difference between the two, and it really depends on what kind of experience you want, since I think both have their own merits.
Predictable, Edwin. Death comes for you, brother.
After a little bit of a slow start, Slime Rancher 2 has been firing on all cylinders, releasing update after update, with the latest from February being Gadgets My Way. This adds a stunning 36 new gadgets to play with and overhauls the gadget system in which they are no longer destroyed upon pickup, so you can customize the world however you like. There are improved interactions with the slimes as well, since they can now interact with more objects, and also overhauls the building system. All existing zones have also been expanded, with the developer also stating that it has sold 1 million copies and is on track to surpass the original. One of the biggest releases just surprise dropped during the Nintendo presentation, in which Penny's Big Breakaway is a 3D platformer that comes to us from the developers of Sonic Mania, so if you were wondering what they were up to since making the best received Sonic game in years, well, now you know. You play as a street performer that specializes in the yo-yo, in which the cosmic string has transformed her yo-yo into a living thing, which then proceeds to eat the clothes of the Emperor during a performance, so our heroine is now persona non grata and has the Emperor's soldiers hunting her down. This is the setup of an awesome 3D platformer, from combat to traversal, so if you love a good one of these, it's one to pick up. Finally, after 2.5 years or so, the grimdark 2D Souls-like Metroidvania Grime is now complete, releasing its definitive edition with the release of the Parting Shade free update. This follows Colors of Rot and Tinge of Terror, along with the jiggly named Feedback patch that took community complaints into account, in which the update adds a new endgame area. It was also released on Switch and might be worth playing through again in full, since the sequel is in development and is among the 50 upcoming Metroidvanias that I covered in this video.